Welcome to the Soapbox Sessions. Imagine this, an open and free internet where voices are never silenced, where causes aren't shadow banned, and where no one can be deplatformed. It's real, it's here, and it's happening on Noster. So what exactly is Noster? It's a worldwide community of everyday people working to decentralize the internet. On Noster, you can build websites, communities, social networks, apps, and more. One login works everywhere, you own it, and no one can take it away. No more juggling dozens of platforms, chasing audiences, or managing a giant password list. And the cherry on top? Noster allows for built-in digital payments that can come from anywhere in the world. On Noster, value flows as freely as ideas. We're hooked on decentralizing the web, and we think you will be too. So now, let's hear from your hosts, Derek Ross and Heather Larson, who are working to grow Noster one vibe at a time.
Welcome back to Soapbox Sessions. Today is October 22nd, 2025, and we're here with your weekly dose of all things decentralized, social, and AI. Soapbox Sessions is our soapbox about what's new, what's cool, and what's coming. We want to make it easy to understand and keep up with everything in the decentralized world of social communication and AI as we work to rebuild the internet. Hi, Heather. Welcome back.
What's up, Derek? Look at us. We're apart again. We were together in the same place, and now we're mid-visit now. We're like between our visits.
One of these times when we're in the same locale, we're going to have to figure out how to do a show where both of us are in the same room instead of virtually. I think that'll be fun. We could do that sometime.
I have my Tascam with me wherever I go, so we can always sit down in a hopefully not terrible sounding corner somewhere and maybe, get a little recording done.
So how was my neck of the woods? How was Pennsylvania?
It was great. I'd never been to Pennsylvania before. Okay. So, coming from Arizona, which is where I live, dude, it's just such a different world from the desert. A lot different. It was the things that stunned me were like trees. Like I felt like I fell off the turnip truck and
you
saw
noticed
trees the first
the
time.
leaves changing colors because it's fall here,
trees.
so we have leaves that are yellow and orange and red, and
it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Actually, your town is absolutely gorgeous. State College, PA is wonderful, gorgeous. There's some hills, you got trees everywhere, everything's green, everything's lush. Obviously the opposite from where I live. But what stunned me about State College, I mean, obviously a smaller town, right? This is a college town. This is where Penn State is. It was just so nice. I live in a major city. There's 5 million people here. I'm used to a certain level of crime and seeing certain things walking down the street at all hours of the day or night, and you guys just don't have that there. And the absence of loud signs and strip malls, because a big part of my life is I go to those places and then I can't find my car because I'm just one in like a sea of 5,000 cars outside of a Costco or something. Like it was a much more calm, like I could spend a week there and decompress. It was so nice. Very nice.
And
place.
that's why I love it, the rural area. I grew up here. I like visiting a city, but after a few days, I'm like, bring me back to my calm, my calm residential areas, bring me back to my slower paced shopping areas, bring me back to my hills, my valleys, my rivers, my mountains, my fields, my cows.
It made me wonder,
I need it all.
If I lived in a place like that, or if I grew up in a place like that, how lucky are your kids, right? If I were from a place like that, how would my life be different? Because I'm so used to like all of the stresses of big city life. I've always lived in a big city most of my life, or at least grew up in big cities, in Arizona and California. And, how would things be different if I didn't grow up in this, public transportation, high traffic, high stress, dog eat dog competitive kind of world? Because it just seems like you guys had you and your wife and your friends and just having such a nice community to go to. And everybody seems to like have a continuity of like knowing everybody and what was going on. And it just seemed like, Seth was telling me there's like no crime, and you guys, I was just tripping. Like that's such a different, nice world compared to big city life. I really, really enjoyed it. And you know what the kicker was? When I turned on the bathroom faucet at the hotel or anywhere, the cold water came out. You don't get that here.
Wait a second. You don't have cold water?
No. Like not even in the winter. It's kind of lukewarm. But yeah, if you turn on the cold faucet, you're never going to get cold water. It's not a thing. And I didn't realize that until I went there. Yeah, because I was like, God, this
Oh,
water's really cold, like legitimately cold
yeah.
water, not even fake cold. It was like, wow, this is a
That's
trip.
that's hilarious. I didn't really. I mean, I guess if the temperature is so hot, I guess it depends where your water source comes from.
Yeah, I mean, the only chance for
Cool.
anything near
So
cold
Noster
water.
Valley. Well, so Noster Valley was last week, and
Mhm.
we had a wide range of conversations. However, half of our presentation. So we had what 8 or 9 different presentations throughout the
Mhm.
afternoon, but half of those were like vibe coding AI development centric. We had
Yeah.
multiple people talking about apps that they built vibe coding. We had people talking about vibe coding tools, AI first development tools. And we had people talking about building niche communities, all thanks to AI giving them the tools to be able to build. It was wild that that was such a large part of our conversation. But I think that that shows the direction that we're going. We're giving regular people the tools to build their community, and they're excited about it, and they want to talk about it.
Yeah, this is the whole point of what we're
We
doing
also
is giving
had
people that power, you know?
we also had a few developer sessions where we
Mhm.
learned a little bit about what some of the, I'll say, the analog developers are doing,
Yeah.
the non vibe coding developers are doing. I'm just kidding.
The it's an exciting time because people are building so many
Yeah,
cool things and solutions to, the problems of the world and the
absolutely.
problems of Nostr too.
I think one of the most exciting dev conversations that we had at Nostr Valley was Biz talking about Buddhabit, his Git centric dev
Yes.
client. Think of it
You
as like
know,
Discord with developer functions built into it,
could Git be the next
with
big
GitHub
thing?
built into it, right? Like that
Yeah,
was
is
it was
is
really neat.
is Git the next big thing for Nostr? Could it be?
Well, I wouldn't say it's the next big mainstream thing, but any
Next
developer
step?
that has been building anything and used GitHub understands that their entire repository could disappear if Microsoft decides they don't like you for whatever reason.
True.
So there needs to be a decentralized alternative, and there is now with Noster. We have NGit, and we have several applications that are using it, like Noster Hub, Shakespeare, and Buddhabit. I said Buddhabit's really cool. I want to check out and spend more time with it. It's just a really cool application. Like I said, it's like a Discord community, but there's all this Git integration. So you can look at your issues, you can look at your stream of commits and everything. It's almost like if you go to GitHub and or GitLab and you sign in, you have this like dashboard of all the projects that you're working on, issues, merge requests, commits, and then like the social aspect. Well, that's what
Yeah,
that is.
there's
It's
yeah,
essentially that homepage built into a whole app.
yeah, he's bringing more of a social aspect. So instead of just like, I don't know, putting an emoji on something in my GitHub
Yeah.
stream, I could actually, respond to it, and have maybe a meaningful conversation in that space. That's kind of interesting too.
So social collaboration for building. I think that's cool. It's a
That's
cool
so
use
open
case.
source. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
It builds it in a little bit better because otherwise we're on Nostr talking to each other or Signal or some people still use Telegram. And so that's a nice social layer to add, and I like that. That was a cool thing. And if you're listening to this and it's like we're not all about development. There's not one thing that encompasses Nostr. So there were content creators out there as well, like our friend Dan, Pickle Dan, who does the bread and toast cartoon comic. What I don't know what the right way to say bread and toast is, but
I would say it's a comic.
okay, we'll say it's a comic. He had a bunch of merch for sale out there too. So I
He
got a
did
bunch of his stickers and you just get to be a part of something and that was fun.
support the community.
Yeah, and he's been in my yoga classes. He's probably my most dedicated yoga on Noster, aka Yogaster student. So that was the first time we met in real life. So like we've online hung out a bunch of times. I've taught him yoga and he's a big part of that Yogaster community that we started on Noster and
Uh-huh.
so we support his bread and toast comic and it's just there's no replacement for getting to see people in real life and actually getting to talk to them like face to face. It's so cool.
I know we shouldn't play favorites, but out of all the presentations, we're gonna do it anyways. Like
You
we
have a
shouldn't
favorite?
play favorites, but we're gonna play favorites. Out of all the
Mhm.
presentations, what was your favorite and why?
I'm going to say it was Seth, who lives there with you. Well, not like with you in the same house. Zap Cooking, Zap.cooking. Because I think that the
He's
other
not my
stuff is
roommate.
so important. Not your roommate, no, but you guys live in the same area. So we'll say that. So Pennsylvanians were out in force, which is very cool that everybody supported. But no, I love Zap.cooking, even though I am too lazy, busy to cook lately. But I think that Zap.cooking has been one of the better communities on Nostr, at least since I showed up. QW, my friend here in Phoenix, he uses it a lot. He and his wife are big on cooking and just getting into the gourmet. She's an amazing cook, by the way, amazing cook and baker. So I think just things like that make our lives better. And one of the cool things that and Seth did mention this in his presentation, Zap.cooking doesn't make you like read somebody's history about their grandmother's life before you get to the recipe. Like, that's the big complaint about all the recipe blogs out there is you have to weed through like a sea of things on a recipe blog just to get to the recipe itself. It's ridiculous. So I like that Zap.cooking does get straight to the point. You can upload recipes and check out other people's recipes. And I mean, that's just the coolest, I think, community thing is if you can do food, music, yoga, fitness. We've got a lot of people on Noster who are into, the Wim Hof method or, different, I think yoga, wellness, personal development, like that whole pie. People are really into those things,
Okay.
but everybody eats. Got to eat food, right? Got to cook something.
Everybody needs to eat. And
Mhm.
food brings people together. I think it's
It
a
does.
nice community.
So what
So
was
for
your
me, yeah, for me, I think Archinox's presentation talking about fanfares was my favorite
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one.
because I learned a lot about the product, but also I learned how some of the technical aspect of how they're able to essentially paywall content on
Mhm.
Noster. And it's really, really interesting. I think it's interesting because we have value for value as a
Mhm.
monetization method. And we've talked about that a lot on the show. You and I are both fans of it. But
Mhm.
we also know that value for value is very new. And since people are used to taking stuff for free, you know, um, it's hard to convince people to pay for things. That's one of the downsides to value for value is that everybody doesn't understand and a lot of people just take. So this almost Patreon style for Noster content, whether it be a note, a blog post, an image, a video, book, whatever, any type of content that you want to post, I think it's a really interesting way to do pay per content. Like you wouldn't have to subscribe to, let's say, buy a whole podcast, right? You could just buy one podcast episode and you pay for just that episode. It isn't, subscribe and pay a monthly fee or a yearly fee. You just buy one episode and
Pay as you
it
go,
kind of, well, you pay as you go. And it kind of gets us back to, do you remember 25 years ago, whenever iTunes first launched and you could pay
Yeah.
$1 for a song,
Yeah.
and that was really unique. Like, especially for me as somebody that may or may not have obtained a lot of music from questionable methods and questionable payment styles for several years prior to
BitTorrent.
that. Now being able to pay for music for $1 was nothing. And you knew that it was going to be high quality. You knew you were going to get it and you assumed you were supporting the artist. It was just as easy as piracy. And it was
Yeah.
cheap because you didn't have to buy the whole album. You could just buy the one song you wanted. So
It kind of
I
mimicked real life, like where you could buy the
yeah.
single, the cassette single, or like you could. It took what we had done in record stores for ages, and it was something that we could then do, online.
Yeah,
It worked for a while,
it
and then
worked.
then the subscriptions came.
Well, that's what happened is companies realized that that method of revenue was hard to count on, so they wanted residuals, so they knew what their revenue stream would be, and they moved to subscriptions. And now we're being subscribed to death.
We
whether it be
are.
music, whether it be movies, TV, everything is a subscription, everything, AI, like social. So being able to pay for just what you want, I think is a breath of fresh air and getting us back to when things were a little bit better. So I like it. I thought it was a great presentation. I think it's a great platform, and I'm anxious to try it out and use more of it. Besides the presentations that we had at Noster Valley, one of the most exciting things, I guess I'll say two, one of the most exciting developer things that happened there was a lot of side conversations about Web of Trust. And I love Web of Trust. I'm a big fan of
Okay.
Web of Trust. So hearing the development of Web of Trust, companies that were formed with Web of Trust and what they're doing and what they're planning to do to implement it is absolutely amazing. So Web of Trust, I think I've talked about it before on the show, but for those that aren't familiar, think of it as just essentially saying your network. You
And this
trust your
is
network of people.
this is exclusively a Noster idea. This is a Noster
Essentially,
capability
yeah.
because of the
So,
way it's built.
but other social platforms may call this like your network. So it's the people you follow and then the people that those people follow. Think of it as like your extended family.
Mm-hmm.
Your web of trust is kind of like your extended family, but in social form on some social platform. So whenever we started talking about web of trust and degrees of separation and degrees of trust and everything, forever ago on Noster, a lot of people were fans of web of trust and algorithms to determine, what level of web of trust, what your score is and so forth. It was, well, who's to say who has the right weights, who has the right metrics? Why
Yeah.
is your metric different than mine? And maybe you value comments more and I value zaps more. And maybe this application does it one way and another application does it another way. Who's to say what is the best method? And that's kind of where it died because no one wanted to be the central authority on web of trust. And I get it. Like we don't want to be told what to do. So we don't want someone to tell us the way that we should be using web of trust, the way that we should be using our algorithm. So there's a new school of thought out there that makes this completely all configurable. You can configure your web of trust metrics however they apply to you. So
I
Heather,
like
if you
that.
value comments more than I do, then you turn your comment weight up. If I value zaps more, I turn my zap weight up. And we build this web of trust based on our own personal needs and our own personal configuration and metrics. So that was part of the side conversations that people are building right now. And I'm super excited for that because then and it's even shareable. So if you are a creator
Okay.
or you're, an influencer, whatever,
Influencer.
you can build a web of trust. And if you show that your web of trust works, you can then share your configuration and other people or other applications can implement it. So it almost
Yeah.
becomes like a marketplace for web of trust, like who has the best configured web of trust or something like that. And I like that. It gives us more user choice, more freedom.
More freedom, more ability to be your own algorithm and take responsibility for what your feed
Yes.
looks like and curate your
Be
own feed.
your
Like
own algorithm.
I
Absolutely.
think that mutes would be important to me because if
Okay.
you have people that you've muted, I would trust that. I would say, you know what, if Derek, because I don't think that you mute a lot of people. I mute a ton of people. I mute bots. I mute, whatever weird stuff I don't want to see. I'm good at muting, and so my mute list is long and extensive. But I would trust whatever you mute. But I also add words too. Like during election season, I'll mute vote or ballot. Like I'll
Yeah,
mute
I've
certain
done that
words.
too.
You know,
What do we call those? Like timely mutes.
yeah,
When something becomes annoying, you don't just want to, you don't care about it. You don't want it to overtake your feed. You
yeah.
mute a couple words for a few months and then you take them away. Yeah, I see
God, I leave
people
them there
doing that a lot.
forever. I never unmute. Once in a while, I will unmute somebody because I will see that they've stopped acting crazy. Because I'll mute people if they're just doing something bizarre that I'm like, you know what? I want to keep it clean. I don't need that much drama in my feed if people are constantly
Yeah,
like
I get it.
negative or fighting. It's or if it's just
And we have
a
control
subject.
over our own feeds, our own attention. So I
Yeah,
tell people all the time to mute liberally. Like you shouldn't have to deal with something if you don't want to. Just mute it, move on.
Exactly. And that's the best part about Web of Trust. I had side conversations about that too with people. It's funny that you mentioned that because that did become a hot topic to talk about
Yeah.
Web of Trust, what it could do, different use cases, how it helps the users to enjoy Nostr just a little bit more.
Yes.
You could even mute the
And I
word
think,
Bitcoin.
yeah, exactly. If you don't like all the Bitcoin conversation, you should be able to mute it and tailor your feed to be non-Bitcoin content. So these things are coming. They're in the works, coming to your favorite app. And if not your favorite app, well, you take your NSEC and you pop it into this new app that
Yeah.
has it.
This is exciting. Ultimately, if you look at this a few years from now, this is just my prediction of down the road where it could be. You're going to have this ultimate customizable experience where if you want to have a TikTok experience or an Instagram like experience, or if you just want, Zapdoc cooking, you just want to watch live gamers, I think it'll be easy to follow whatever your specific interest is and also follow or get involved with people who share that specific interest, like mine's music or yoga. I could find just other yoga and music people, or I could find just other AI, low code developers, or whatever it is. Like it's going to be so much easier just because we have so many great AI tools. People are building faster and building more solutions. Like a couple years from now, this is going to rock. We're going to have so much choice for users, and you're going to have so much control as a user. You're going to be able to do more, make your own app, click a button or two and, spend $2 and remix somebody else's app that you like and use it for your own purposes. I mean, we are already kind of there. So, it'll just be more widespread, like the general public getting a hold of this technology and being able to use it. That's going to be really exciting.
I think probably the most exciting use case for Web of Trust is
Hmm.
probably something that we haven't even thought of yet.
Right.
It's once we have more people in the ecosystem, more
Hmm.
people on the network, someone will determine a very unique and new use case that we hadn't thought of before. But when we start using it, we will think that this is something that
Yeah.
we should have had all along and done all along.
Well, it's not like 100% hammered out. And so like I realized too, I was talking with Manny. We had a nice little hike in the woods and we were talking about Web of Trust and I had this aha moment where I'm like, I don't totally understand this. And we were just spitballing, talking as we do. And I said, I came from B2B and marketing B2B software. And so I was like, came to this place where he was like, Web of Trust is B2B. And I was like, no kidding. I was like, just turned
Yeah.
on the light of like, you could use this in a B2B manner. I don't have use cases hammered out in my head about it, but it was just
No,
like,
but you absolutely could.
you
Think of
absolutely
it
could.
as trusted business partners who you want to ship
Mm-hmm.
products to, who you want to buy from that you know isn't going to send you inferior products or scam you or is fast on returns. Absolutely. Yeah, I could absolutely see that. I mean, small town does that. Small towns do that already.
Yeah.
In a small town, the network, who you do business with and
And
why
who you
you want to
don't.
do business with them and who you don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is just expanding that in digital format, something that,
Mm-hmm.
humans have done for thousands of years with trade. We're just
Good
making a digital version of that.
reputation management kind of
Yes.
thing where
Well,
like
that's really what it
everybody's vetted.
is.
Yeah.
And that's,
It's very cool.
and on Noster, we like to say that your NPub is your reputation,
Yeah.
and it really is because there's no other way to build authenticity and reputation. So your profile, your identity is your reputation.
Well, this is the answer to if you're not liking the policies and the ID verification, the big, giant, big tech legacy social media platforms are, putting into play now. This is kind of the alternative. And, maybe we're always going to have things like spam bots, right? But this is going to help you, kind of get rid of some of that. I would think ideally, like you would be able to tell which accounts are not trustworthy. I say account because I think that that's familiar language
Profile,
for,
yeah.
yeah, profile, account. user, I don't know. But yeah, it would
They
be
all
great.
generally mean the same thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, just using different wording, but yeah, if we can get rid of some of the riffraff through Web of Trust and some of the, I don't know, the digital panhandling that is so obvious sometimes on Noster, and just some of the things that go on, if that can eliminate that in the long term, I don't know exactly how that works right now, but we're in new territory. I mean, we're doing some exciting things that haven't been done
It's
before,
all
and
new.
just rebuilding the internet, the way it should have been in the first
Well,
place. Now that we're
rebuilding the
able
internet
to.
isn't going to happen overnight, and there's going to be some ups and downs and excitement and probably some rage along the way, you know?
The rage. The rage is built in, huh?
There there's absolutely going to be rage along the way. Things aren't going to work how you want them to, and you're going to have to deal with it, and you may rage quietly or loudly from time to
I'm
time.
used to it now. I don't rage anymore. I just grunt.
You just grunt.
I just grunt, sigh
Well,
heavily, roll my eyes, and move on.
but there are times when we celebrate at milestones and improvements, and I did that earlier today
Hmm.
whenever I saw Fountain's new user interface for the web. It is absolute eye candy. It's beautiful. It's very visually appealing. I'm
Hmm.
very happy with it.
Yes.
I haven't spent much time with it, but the 10 minutes I did just checking out all the new features, I was like a kid in a candy store smiling at the beautiful visuals.
Yeah, this is how we win. We make things really visually appealing and very easy to use, easy to find content that you want. In this case, with Found, it's going to be music and podcasts, and there's plenty of it there. So
You
I was
may
excited to
actually
see
be
that too.
listening to us right now from that beautifully designed visual,
Yeah.
and we
The
appreciate that.
The Soapbox Sessions page looks really good now
It
on
does. It
Fountain.
looks good.
So yeah.
Let's see what else happened in the purple verse over the past week. We have Odell talking Noster and Shakespeare and free speech on What Bitcoin Did podcast with Danny.
Yeah.
So
That
thank
was
you,
really
Odell, for
cool.
that.
We
Yeah,
we love it,
absolutely.
Odell. I love what he had to say. He on Noster and free speech, and he is never tired of discussing that for us,
Yeah,
and kind of representing the community. So that's been fantastic of him. He's been a good steward of the Noster.
he has been. He has been. I see in the show notes here that there's a new Runster update, and
There
I
is.
haven't checked it out because it's on iOS. So is the
Well,
Android version available yet?
yeah, you can get it's in Zap.store.
On
It's
Zap
also,
Store? Okay.
and if you want to go nuts, it's on GitHub too.
Well, I can't use it now. I'm all sorts of banged up. My knee's all messed up. But
Well,
so
actually,
I can't install. I need like
funny
a
you should say that, because there's actually a few extras in the app, like yoga or meditation or stretching. Like you can go to
stretcher and all right, let's do
Stretchster.
it.
Yeah, so it's far beyond just running. You can run. We call it Runster, but there's also Walkster, Cyclester, and then little extra things that you can record in there. We'll keep
Maybe it's
adding to
more
that.
like Healthster. It's just like a health app.
Yeah, we kind of went down that road in the beginning, but we decided to go back to Runster because there are a lot of great Bitcoin running programs and charities like the Run for Hal. We'll never run out of runs that we can promote. There's Bitcoin
All the
runners and
runs. Okay.
all the runs. So like ultimately, you'll be able to do teams and do team challenges and things in Runster. And so like this new release is just ratcheting that up and making it pretty. And it's also orange and black now, so you can go check that out. iOS is still a little bit beta, so I'm not really like publicly talking
Okay.
about that. But since you listen to Soapbox Sessions, you get the alpha on that. Derek, I hear.
What? What'd you hear
I
about
hear.
me? It's all true.
I hear. Well, I know you know a lot about this because I didn't actually get to check this out today. But there is some Primal, I think, updates.
Yeah. The Their updates there's just a few of them out there for the Primal app. They added some enhancements to notifications, expanded notifications, showing a little bit more information. The live streaming UI that they've been working on over the past month or so, it's just a little more polished, a few enhancements, trying to tidy it up a little bit, and just more stability in feed polish. Now, if you're an iOS user, they have the back swipe gesture off to I guess try that out on my tester iPhone that I used for testing that I went to my yeah. Do you know this? A year ago, after I got home from Prague, I went to my niece who was like 14, 15 at the time, and I said, "Hey, you have an old iPhone that you don't use, I think, right? What do you?"
Hmm.
And I went to my sister and I was like, "Can I have that? Like, can I use it to test all these apps?" Because I was in Prague and so many people were showing me issues they had or talking about,
Hmm.
onboarding or talking about just stability issues. And I looked like an idiot just saying, yeah, I don't have that on Android. I can't help you. I'm sorry. So I wanted to help people. So for the first time ever in my life, I went and used an iPhone, and I literally have an iPhone now. Like, I don't use it. It's probably dead. I charge it like once every month to test out an app feature just so I can understand how it works or try the
Yeah.
new feature or do some type of user support. And then I let it die and then I'll charge it again a month later. So I'll have to install like Rustr on it to check it out. And I'll have to install the Primal update, which I generally do whenever a new
Okay.
Primal update comes out. I
Yeah.
test it on Android and iOS as well.
Give it a shot. It's a
Yeah,
good
give
daily
it a
driver.
shot. I think that's really it for Android news. You know what? No, I'm going
Or
to talk
Nostr
about
news.
yeah Android. Yeah, Noster news. Going back in time to whenever I used to do
Yeah,
Android
you were the
podcasting.
Android blogger guy or
Yeah,
whatever you were that got you Google Plus fame.
yeah, I know. That's another lifetime. I want to talk about another client that I just found out about, and it's fully feature packed and absolutely wild with all the different features across the ecosystem. One of the attendees
Hmm.
of Noster Valley and also the weekly vibe coding jam sessions we do, he demoed his app. It's called
Oh, I know
Rustr,
what you're talking. Yeah.
Rustr dot social, Rustr dot
Hmm.
social, and it literally has every single feature across Nostr. It has all the nips, like everything.
It's
It
like an
has building
everything app.
calendar. It has polls. It has pictures. It has short videos. It has nests. It
I'm
has
down for it.
streaming. It had
It
literally
answers
everything.
everything that you would want to do as a content creator. Because I'm always gonna shout out the content creators. Everything you
Yeah,
would want to do if you want to do a live, yoga session or a blog about yoga or whatever. For example, it could be yoga, it could be music, it could be gaming. There's the
he has everything.
possibilities.
He
Yeah.
even has boards, like message boards, has live chat. I mean, it rivals Nostrudel.ninja in terms of sheer features, but
Hmm.
I think Ruster's UI is a little bit friendlier for people. So I would say check it out. It's Rustr.social. It's still very new. So
Hmm.
some features may be a little bit buggy, but he's been working on this for about 6 or 8 months, he said. So, okay. Yeah, vibe coding. Yeah, he's been vibe coding this. So check it out. His goal is to onboard a bunch of people that he knows in the Web3 community with it. So I'm
Which is cool.
excited. Yeah, I'm excited to get more Nostr users and for people to check out his app. Very cool.
Yeah, we need more users because the more users we have, the more demand there will be for apps, features, communities, just whatever you can make. Because right now
Yeah,
it's been a small group of humans for the last couple years, and we've gotten it this far. But I think Nostra's ready for its breakout moment. It's getting much better, much more stable, in my opinion, than it was when I started like a couple years ago.
vibe coders don't get invited to the super secret developer conferences though. Just an FYI.
No, they don't. They don't. But they're no slouches either. I mean, like Runster was vibe coded. Rustr vibe coded.
Absolutely.
We're able to make things, and this is not to say that it was easy because I've watched the Wild Hustle vibe code Runster all year long. God, they sound like the same app in a way. Rustr. It's just if you're listening,
You
it's
just
like what?
you just
What are they
take out
talking
an
about?
N. It's the
Yeah,
same.
but no, he worked hard on Runster this year. It's been through many iterations, and it's it's going to be something that you can track your workouts. You don't have to leave your Strava, your Nike Run Club. But if you're tired of the big tech lock in and losing your data, and you're ready for something else, it can do that for you. And if you want to hang on to your Strava for whatever reason, or your Nike Run Club, you could do that too, because we're going to do fun things with teams and you can earn BTC. You know, you can zap people within the app. That's the ultimate roadmap there. So I mean, it's just but the vibe coding, it's still work. He may not have
Well, it
gone to
absolutely
computer
is work.
science school, but
I spend hours a week, hours
I
a
know you
day,
do.
like many hours a day doing these things, and it's definitely a lot of work.
I
I
spent
mean,
a lot of time last
it's just
night on
different
it.
work.
Yeah, it's a different way to use your brain. I think went through like 4 tries last night. I was vibe coding. I was trying to make. Remember last podcast we talked about Stemster and how much I loved
Yeah.
Stemster.
Yeah,
I
Stemster
was
was
I
pretty
was
cool, like 2 years ago whenever it came out. Like,
yeah,
it's been a
and
long
now
time, but
it died. So I'm trying to make a new
it's defunct,
Stemster.
unfortunately. Okay.
Yes. So I'm trying. I
Maybe we're
I
ready for it now. Maybe we weren't
maybe.
ready, it was too early, maybe 2 years ago. Maybe it's time to bring it back.
Yeah, so I'm trying to make it, and I'm not going to pretend that I'm a dev and that I'm making, the absolute, standalone replacement to Stemster, but it's one of those things where I could hand it off to somebody smarter than me. I'm not saying Alex Gleason would do it, but for example, I could find a dev I know who looks at it and goes, "Okay, this code is terrible," or "Hey, haven't you? Maybe you should do it this way." Like I'm open to suggestions because that's the cool thing is like I've realized that I can start something and then I can, pass off the code to the next person who maybe wants to improve it or has a little more experience. And it becomes more of a community effort where like, I am not a dev, right? I can't write the code yet. I'm learning some basics, right? That's where I'm at. So I'm not completely ignorant, right? Because I've worked in this space, the tech space for years, but I've always worked, downstream from the devs. So this is the first time in my life I get to work directly with devs and learn from you guys who are way better at this stuff than me. Like I'm seeing now kind of there could be a pathway where people like me who aren't coders can start something, collaborate with others. And that's kind of the spirit of open source of like, this doesn't really, I don't feel like it belongs to me. Like, I don't feel like I have to have this tight grip around something because it feels like, and Alex has said this before, ideas don't matter as much anymore as the implementation. So like if I want my idea implemented, then I'm going to have to like share it with somebody who can help make it better. And that's kind of what I've learned from this kind of experience where, yeah, we're vibe coding, but yeah, some people will have some real good skill here. And, you take somebody who's just got an idea, and I'm not saying just make a mock-up and move on from that. I'm just saying like, try your best, make a cool app, and then, network your way through growing it if you really want to do that. Like these things were not possible to do even as fast as we're doing them. That's what's cool now.
Well, that's what I did with Yakback,
Mm-hmm.
4 months ago or whenever that was. Whenever I made that, I had an idea. I built
Mm-hmm.
an application that was working. It worked, absolutely worked, but Fiat Jeff saw it and said, "I think I can make it a little bit better. Do you mind? Would you run my version if I, rewrote some of this because I don't like AI and I don't like how AI wrote this. I think I can do a better job." And I said, "Sure, you're a super dev. Feel free to take
Of course.
my prototype and improve upon it and make it better." And he did. And that's the version that yakback.app is using right now. It's, you know, 85% Derek vibe code, 15%, I don't know, maybe it's 75-25, I don't know, but it's a majority of Derek vibe code, and then Fiat Jeff went in and did the rest to make Outbox work and to make a couple other things work that wasn't
this
working
is
properly.
neither one of us could have been doing this a year ago. This is how fast things have changed to where you can vibe code something and like if you go back to like Heather and Derek 3 years ago, well, we hadn't met yet, but how would we have built an app? You would have had to go down the
I was making
craziest.
apps, but they were not full stack applications. I mean, they were much more simple than what I'm building now. I was making simple applications by hacking things together and doing things that I'll say weren't um, weren't the best way to do things, but it was how I knew how to get something to work by applying my skill set. I mean, I did web development, 20 years ago, uh, back with
20 years
PHP
ago
and
is different.
MySQL. Well, I guess it was a little less than 20 years ago, but sure, it was close to 20 years ago. using
Wow.
PHP and MySQL and doing all sorts of web applications that way. But they were nowhere near as complex as applications today. So I peaked. I wouldn't have been able to build any of the things that I'm building today without vibe coding.
Like this was a world that would not have been accessible to me without Shakespeare. Completely. Well, think about it. Like, it's the end of October 2025. I feel like it's been exactly 3 years since Elon bought Twitter. It's been exactly 3 years since ChatGPT burst on the scene, and we just started asking it to make grocery lists, or what. I don't remember what we did in the beginning, because it's just kind of. It feels like it's happened so fast, but it's been about 3 years. So I mean, think
Yeah,
about the
yeah.
possibilities and how much things have changed in just 3 years. Even like Rustr, I mean, that was the gateway drug for the Wild Hustle. He just got way into, as soon as AI burst on the scene, that became his thing. Like, he started learning all about it, tried all of the different AI tools, and just, that's how he got to where he is now. Vibe coding the Rustr app, and it's just like, there's, if you really, I don't know, this is gonna sound so like trite, but like, if you really apply yourself and you really work hard at learning these things, like Claude Code, for example, or GitHub, things that are not, I don't know, like mainstream, right? But
I
people who are
think,
getting into
Heather,
these
part of the
things,
problem is that people are afraid to dive in because it sounds technical, and
yeah.
historically, web development has been very technical.
Hmm.
People need to understand that you can just have a conversation. You can literally tell it exactly what you're seeing and how you'd like to see it look differently. And I think we see that
Yeah.
in our weekly vibe coding jam sessions where people come and ask questions. And then there's people that like to lurk. And I love the fact that they lurk because it supports us. But each week we ask them if they have built something yet. And they said that they haven't. And that's okay. They're not ready yet or they don't have the time. We all have precious time and not infinite time. So I understand that. But
Oh yeah.
I think taking that initial plunge and getting started is still kind of hard. I think it's a technical hurdle that we could probably solve with more tutorials, more guides, more
A little more
community fostering,
practice.
little better user experience, I think.
Yeah, I think with practice, it gets
Well, but we're
easier.
getting better, right? Like,
Yeah.
think about, I mean, I look at how I vibe coded stuff that, 8 months ago, when vibe coding wasn't even really like a term. Like, I think
Hmm.
vibe coding was like February 2023 is when the term came out. And I think
No, it
like
was
in
like February
March,
this year.
or I'm sorry, 2024. Yeah. And
Yeah.
then in March, man, time
With
flies when you're on the
it was
Noster.
Andrew Carpathy, right?
February 2025. Yes. And then in March 2025 is when I tried to make my first app and spent $800.
Oh my
Because
God, yeah. I didn't do that. I
so
think with 200 was my max.
things have drastically improved
Hmm.
because it's moving very fast. The technology is improving.
And skill level,
Developers
like,
are developing better tools. AI is getting better. It's all improving.
yeah, you don't need skill to use Shakespeare, but I found my skill has improved with it, at least my thinking or my acceptance of
Yeah.
how it works. Because when I do something, I'm like a dog with a bone. I have to figure it out. I have to fix the problem. But I've learned with Shakespeare, I've had to let go. Like, I've had to let go. You know what?
You go
This
with
is
the vibe. That's
yeah, like
literally what that vibe coding literally is, becoming
exactly.
one with the code.
Well, I
You're
was
becoming one
struggling.
with the code.
Last night I was
Mhm.
struggling trying to make my Stemster, knockoff, or my sequel, we'll call it. And I was like, man, it's not getting it. Like, it came up with the most boneheaded idea of like an emoji, like I kid you not, it decided a music note should be the tag for an audio file. And I was like, get out of here, please. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to start over. So like
I
I started over like
saw
three
your
times.
20 different kind one notes testing. I saw them.
Those were hilarious. Like, and that's another thing it does. But like, by the time I figured out what was happening, I was like, okay, screw it. That's one thing that building on a Nostr site does. I don't know why it does that though. That's a good question for you, because you're good at explaining these things.
What's
I was trying to
the
upload.
question?
How do you, when you upload music to the website, it would upload the music publicly to my Noster feed, rather than just to the website. So I finally gave up on trying to get it to stop doing that because I needed to learn to let go and give
Yeah,
them
so it was
vibes and start
creating
over.
you were uploading a song and it was
Yeah.
posting, "Hey, I uploaded music to Noster,"
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which actually, it's a good idea for social sharing because then people would find the song as they're on
Yeah.
Nostr, they would discover it. But for me, building the website, like it was funny.
I think that gets back to, your design documents type thing. You need to
Hmm.
fully flesh out an idea and see how
Yeah.
you want it to function. Like if you want some type of social interaction to happen, then
Hmm.
it'll be a kind OneNote, most likely. But if you don't, then you need to say, I want to upload this and I want it to be added somewhere because it needs to track what you've uploaded somehow,
Yeah.
somewhere. So maybe that's a private, bookmark list or something of your privately uploaded songs or a public
Yeah.
list or something like that. Who knows? But I
So
think it gets back down to kind of figuring out what you are trying to accomplish and how you want it to function. And that's one thing that I've gotten better at over the past year is figuring out what I want and how I want it to function. And then I would say describing those features better to
yeah,
AI.
because I'll ask it to describe like what would this look like, and I'll go through it and I'll go, let me cut this out,
I've
let me
done that.
add in, yeah, So and I went through a couple of those
I
last
did,
night, so
yeah.
I
I did
got
that
it.
for the bot I made earlier.
Yeah,
For my Bluester bot I made earlier. I
yeah.
literally said, "Hey, can this work like this? Yes or no?" Basically, and I described the whole feature. And then Claude responds, "Yes, this can work exactly like this. Here, let me build it." I'm like, "Oh, well, I didn't tell you to go ahead, but I guess since I was right, then sure, go ahead and build it." And I just, I let it
That the
continue to
flattery always
build,
works, right? It's
and
always kissing your ass.
it's like you're absolutely right.
You're always absolutely right with AI. Like, God, you're never wrong. But yeah, no, but that was one thing I had to learn last night was like, this is frustrating me, but I can just throw it out and start over because code is really disposable now. Like, just fuck it, let it go,
And
like start over.
I've done that. I've vibe coded several apps that I had an idea and I maybe didn't have it fully developed how I
Yeah.
wanted it to function and it just wasn't working correctly. So
Hmm.
so I literally deleted it and started over because now I knew once I saw it. It's that age old thing that developers used to say, and some of them still do, is that when they're working with like a team, the team kind of says what they want, but they don't know how they want it to function. So the developer basically has to figure that out themselves. And the developer says, well, they'll know what they want when they see it.
I've
Basically, when
noticed
I
that
design it and
too.
give it to them, they'll be like, oh, yeah, that's what I want. Or they'll
Yeah.
see it and they'll be like, you know what? Now that I visually see it, no, that is
That's
not what
what
I
I
want.
do. I don't quite know what I want. Sometimes I just want to see what it can do, and then it
You
builds me
have an
something.
idea.
Yeah, like I have a vague idea and then I start messing with it and and then I start to get better ideas. And so it's a good thinking exercise. So I have like a couple of goals now. Like I want to be able to do like what Derek does where I build apps that have users, right? Cuz it's like that's cool. And then I also like I want to be able to build the kind of apps that solve the problems that I have, that and serve the ideas that I have so that I can make cool things that I'm like, I'm really into this. I'll probably like actually buy the domain name and make the actual
Yeah.
site, and maintain it.
No,
Cause like, I feel like I've had a lot of
I think that
practice now.
well, that means that you've reached the next level. Once you start
Hmm.
buying domain names for your apps, then they
I'm
feel
almost there.
more real, in my opinion.
Mm. But I
It's
don't
another
mind
rabbit
like the
hole, and then you
free
start buying all these
hosting.
domain names.
Yeah, I was looking at domain names today. I was like, I think I have some ideas. I'm like, I don't know if I can pull it off, but I'm getting there. you know, that could be
So
fun.
so I built just yesterday and today two really cool new apps I'm really excited for. And
Mm.
they don't have domain names yet, but they might.
They might
They're
get
just
there.
on they're on Shakespeare hosted and Vercel or Netlify, sorry, Netlify hosted and Shakespeare hosted domain
Hmm.
names right now, but subdomains. But maybe I'll buy a domain name for them. Who knows? We'll see where they go. But I went down the supporting vision path of Alex Gleason. He has a vision for Blue Sky and for Noster and the Fediverse. And he
To bring it all
sees,
together?
yeah, he sees Noster as the central hub for the decentralized web, bringing all of that content into Noster with his Monster bridge for the Fediverse and the Monster bridge, for Blue Sky. And, I think he sees, and I think a lot of other people do too, see the Fediverse as something that's, kind of dying, but Blue Sky's doing well. So he's now focused on fixing and completing his Blue Sky bridge, and that'll bring a wide plethora of content into Nostr. And I think a nice
We need that.
content injection is what we really need.
We do.
But we know that content discovery on Nostr is hard, so we need ways to discover that content. So I'm working on an app to help with that content discovery from Blue Sky once we get it all working. So hopefully, maybe next week I'll be able to talk about that.
Oh, okay. Oh, this was the tease.
That was the I mean, I can talk about it. Yeah, we'll tease and because it's not fully working yet. So I have it working in practice, but the content's not there yet. Once the fire hose is open and we're getting all the content from Blue Sky, then I'll release the app, and then we'll be able to find and follow people from Blue Sky and consume their content. And it doesn't really matter that they're from Blue Sky because the content lives and breathes on Noster. It's the same way like whenever we had the Donald Trump bot posting from Truth Social, he couldn't see our responses, but people were sharing and commenting and replying all over his notes before they took that down. It was just another piece of content for people to interact with. I think that people will like this if we can get it working
That's huge
properly.
because I think people need to be able to find the kind of content that they want, and that's just easy. Like, we can do that. We're working on it. It'll get done.
And since we were talking about, Blue Sky content, I decided just to play around with, vibe coding as I do and nerd snipe myself as I often do. And I built
Daily.
a cross poster daily. Yeah, I built a cross poster from Noster to Blue Sky. So it's
Okay.
just a small bot that you can run on your computer, configure 3 lines, just 3 configuration items on it, and it will cross post all of your Noster content to your Blue Sky account.
Oh, wait. Okay,
So
because I
it's
have
just
something like that for Twitter that Rabble built.
yeah, that Rabble built. So this isn't a web page that does that because I don't want to store people's credentials or anything. Yeah, so this is something that you would run on your computer. Like, you have a Mac, you would just keep this running on your Mac, or if you have a server, you have a Bitcoin node, something like that, you can run it on.
So I just kind of install it with a few terminal commands, and it
Yeah, a few
goes. And
terminal commands, and then you can run it on your MacBook, and it would just be running all the time that your Mac is on, essentially, and running.
so, like, every time I post when my Mac is on, or post from my Mac, like my
Yeah.
Nostr post, I mean, it'll go right to my Blue Sky.
Yeah, it'll cross post, it'll do images, and it'll resolve Noster, like it'll resolve handles. It won't tag them obviously because they don't exist, but if I like tag like you, it would respond with
Cool.
make songs longer, I guess, instead of
Yeah, my
your end
username.
pub. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it all works.
Cool.
It's all working. So I'll have to see if it's
Try it out.
Heather proof. Yeah. Like, I have it working for myself. I'm the only person that uses it.
That's
But
a
maybe
joke
we
inside
can
Soapbox. Can we make it Heather proof? Since I'm the only
I was actually thinking
non-dev.
about that.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking about that. I'm like, man, like, so you have to install Python to get this to work. And I was like, okay, so this is very developer friendly, but not normie friendly. So
I am
how
like a
can we make it?
baby in the terminal.
Well,
I'm like a little
if
baby developer
if I
learning the
port
terminal.
this over to like Rust, I should be able to get it to work. But that's like version 2.
It's a
right
Derek and
now.
Heather project. It's a Derek and Heather nerd snipe waiting to happen. Maybe we'll do it in Nashville this weekend.
Well, maybe we will.
We'll see. We'll
Nashville's coming up this weekend. We have Nostrville
Mhm.
3.0 happening Saturday from 2 to 6 is the unconference, the hangout, the
So excited.
sessions where we'll have a few sessions and food trucks and food, drinks, networking. Come hang out,
Mhm.
come listen to some people talk about various things adjacent to Noster.
Mhm.
And then from, what is it, 6 to 9, then we have a very special treat
God,
hearing
I'm
Joe
excited about this.
Martin and Ainsley Costello singing some new songs, performing some
Songwriter
new songs for
round.
us.
This is gonna be cool because you go in a room, you close the door, and they're doing their thing, and you don't talk. You just respect the process of songwriter rounds. And this
Can
is the
I
first time I get to see
like give
Joe.
him a PV or give him like a Noster
You can
gang
give him the
sign?
Noster gang sign. You can give him the
Okay.
PV, but I'm so stoked because I have not. Obviously, I've seen Ainsley many, many
Yeah,
times play, but Joe is visiting from the UK, recording an
I'm
album
excited for
right
that.
now. Oh my god, I can't wait to see Joe play in person and meet him in person. But
Yeah.
I gotta see him play. Gotta go
Haven't
to
met him in
Nashville.
person yet either, so I'm excited to meet Joe.
Right, first for both of us. Usually,
Yeah.
I'm the one having the
Well,
first
he
because you
hasn't
know
been
everybody.
inducted into the FOD yet. Well, now, so
He's
what
a
we're gonna
fod.
do is that whenever we meet in person, I'm gonna take him, into the corner and show him the secret handshake, and you know,
I don't even know the secret handshake. I think this is it.
yeah, well, yeah, we gotta like you gotta make the Noster gang sign. You gotta like touch elbows or
My
something.
arms hurt. It was arm day yesterday. I can't squeeze my bicep.
But now, yeah, I'm excited. So let's talk about some other AI news here real quick before we wrap up. I
Oh yeah, we
think
got a bunch.
there was a few things that hit the news reel this past week about Meta and
Yeah,
OpenAI. So
the big tech, right?
Meta said that they're going to cut 600 jobs from their super intelligence AI lab, at least
Yeah.
according to Axios. So that
Mm-hmm.
can mean one or two things. One, the AI bubble was bursting, like all the skeptics say, dun dun
Maybe.
dun. Or two, so their AI is progressing faster than anticipated, and they don't need as many engineers
Or
as they
it is
originally did.
because it's big tech and they have shareholders to please in the final quarter of the year, and they do what every tech startup does, and they have a huge riff before the end of the year because, they overhire, or they just do this because, somebody some bean counter in a room somewhere says, "Oh, you need to cut 600 jobs." They'll hire him back next quarter. It's a game. It's just ridiculous. But that's big tech. That's why we don't do big tech. That's why we're open source, Derek.
So OpenAI unveiled its AI browser called ChatGPT Atlas during a live stream earlier this week. And they
Insane.
needed to do that because their competitors are already doing this. The browser company has Dia, Opera has Neon, Perplexity has Comet,
Mm-hmm.
and Google has Gemini in Chrome, and
Mm-hmm.
Anthropic has Claude extension for Chrome. So everybody essentially has some way to capture users' browser
Well, it's a wild race to
activity.
get
I mean,
user
that's
data.
literally what it is. It's like, hey, wait a second. All of our competitors are getting all sorts of user data by tracking people's browser habits. Why aren't we doing that? I want to do that. And
Right.
now we do that. Like,
Czar race. Just
so
amazing.
I so did you watch the video? Like, it's actually cool from a technical standpoint. You're
I
like,
did
"Oh, wow."
not.
So let's say
I
you're
get
on
it.
a shopping website and you're lazy. Instead of scrolling all through the website looking for that winter coat you want to buy, you're like, "Hey, do they have black winter coats? I want a black winter coat," to the AI. And the
In my
AI is
size?
like, "All right, let me drive." And the AI finds it. Yes, they do have black coats from this brand and this price and everything. Like,
Wild.
it's cool. Or maybe you're scheduling your trip to Nashville,
Mm-hmm.
and when you're booking the flight, you say, "Hey, I want to find some other things to do while I'm there. What can I do while I'm there?" And then AI is
That could
like,
be
"Oh, you're
helpful.
going to Nashville. Here's all the different things you can do in Nashville." So it's a way to search and extrapolate information and expand on information on what the current web page is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like, that's cool. Google Chrome through Google Search has been doing this for many, many, many
Yeah.
years, but it's just expanding on the context of what's on the web page, which again, it's cool, but then you think, oh, do I want all these big AI companies like seeing my screen, doing, and spying on, surveilling my web browsing habits?
Google has
That's
always
interesting.
been really good at that, though. Like you have to know how to opt out.
They are Google's the best at surveilling people for their data and giving them free
Yes.
tools,
Yeah,
and
seriously.
they always have been.
I've been
Like
trying to move away from
we
that.
been using Gmail for 21 years now, and I haven't paid one
Really?
penny for it, but damn well sure they read all my emails to show me ads.
Right. This I've been trying to get more into like Proton Mail and trying to, as you become more educated about your privacy and your site. God, I've been in every freaking data breach. I swear to God, every email address has been,
Yeah.
sacrificed at this
Yeah.
point.
So for OpenAI, the whole reason they're doing this isn't so much to make web browsing better. They're doing this to
Because it
continue
hasn't
to
gotten better.
make, yeah, they want to
It's gotten
continue to make
worse.
ChatGPT the central point of their internet. Just like a couple weeks ago when they announced, I don't remember what they called it, so I'll call it ChatGPT skills and widgets, something like that,
Wasn't
where
that the
you
Claude
were,
skills?
well, Claude calls their skills. ChatGPT
Mhm.
called it something else, and I don't
Okay.
really remember exactly what it was, but it was something very
It's hard to tell it
similar
apart.
where application developers, platforms basically integrate into OpenAI. So where you would use OpenAI to book a flight through Kayak or something like that. Like
Trip.
it's basically a way for them to centralize the internet around them and collect data.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
essentially doing what Google has been doing, for since Google became
decades.
Google,
Yeah.
but that's why they're doing it. Google gets a massive amount of user data because of this. So
Mhm.
these companies, to essentially compete with Google and stay relevant, they need to do that. Like, it's from a company, standpoint, if they don't do it, Google's going to surpass them. Or I mean, I don't know. I think Gemini is already better than ChatGPT.
You think so? Yeah, oh yeah. It's annoying though. Like ChatGPT, it automatically opens a freaking tab in my browser. Like every time I restart my browser, like it's just you can never quite get away from it completely. You know what I mean? It always finds a way to get after you. Well,
Sam,
and
he wants to scan your eyeballs. I don't know. I don't trust that guy.
no, nobody's scanning my eyeballs
I mean,
unless it's legitimate.
yeah, that's how this needs to be billed. From the guy that wants to scan your eyeballs, he wants you to use his own web browser. He promises not to do anything bad with your user data.
Well, speaking of AI being absolutely everywhere and hard to get away from at this point, General Motors is going to add a conversational AI assistant powered by Google Gemini, Google, to its cars, trucks, and SUVs starting next year. So I'm just wondering, what would that do for me? Do I need that? Do I need a talking car? We had talking cars in the 90s,
You
they,
know,
they came out
I'm
then, but
gonna I'm gonna say I I don't think. Well, it's probably not too much different than Google Assistant already is with Android Auto, because you can already
Mhm.
launch Assistant and ask, all sorts of general assistant things. But with Gemini, it will be more conversational, I'm sure. So you can have back and forth conversations.
Is
So
it
will
going to
that
be,
lead to distracted driving then?
I don't
I
know,
mean, I
can I be
guess you can talk to the passengers in your car, so it's very similar to that, I
That's true. I
guess.
mean, like, what is the use case? Is it just like, hey, I'm lost and I'm hungry. Can you get me back to the freeway
Yeah,
and find me food in a bathroom? Like, can it do that? Or, you know, because like, I'm an
yeah.
Apple person,
So
as you
I
know,
think I
and
think that's probably what it is. It's to make things easier, because like right now, if I'm driving somewhere and I want food, I can ask the Google Assistant for directions. But then if I want to do certain things, I might need to do more interactions with the screen or touch the screen more. So adding a more advanced AI feature, maybe it's better. I don't know. I'd like to learn more about it before I
yeah.
have judgment.
That's the thing I've noticed this year with AI and the race that it is that it's just you're going to have your AI tools just kind of ensconced in whatever you already have. So, like, I thought that would mean at some point in the year, I thought, whatever software you're using in your day-to-day life, there's going to be an AI component. They're just going to kind of fold it
It's
in,
gonna be
sneak
everywhere.
it in. Yeah. And so now it's like, well, it's going to be in your car too. And like, maybe if you have the fancy, like the door locks that are digital, like there's going to be no end to like, hey Siri, I'm on my way home, unlock the front door. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be insane.
Your car is gonna get angry with you and lock you out, or you're speeding, and it's like, it's like, hello, Derek. I noticed you're going 62 miles per hour in a 55.
Yeah, I already have that on my phone where my phone's like, don't you think your music's a little too loud? And I'm like, shut up. If you're too loud, it's
Daddy AI will protect us all. I can't wait.
right. It's like Minority Report. We're living in
Yeah.
it. We're going to have our
No,
eyeballs
I hope,
scanned and
man.
the ads will pop up.
Brought to you by the guy that scans your eyeballs. Yeah.
Oh god, we're living it. Where is my flying car, Derek? I got everything else now. I need the robots can clean your house. I want to get that robot. I forgot what it was called, but the robot that cleans the house and puts away the
Yeah.
laundry. God, I want one of those.
I made that. Because you shit post from time to time. What did I say?
Yeah.
I was like, man, these sex robots are getting better and better by the day.
I don't think I want a sex robot. I want a robot to put my freaking laundry away.
That was my joke. Is that someone's gonna buy the housemaid bot not for cleaning house. It's gonna be used. It's gonna be used for something else.
I would be happy if the robot went and got my mail for me, like take out the trash, like all those stupid little like. Run my dishwasher, do my laundry, don't let me forget to run the dishwasher. I don't know, like
but most importantly, it posts to Noster once like your dishes are done. Like it tells the Noster that your dishes are done. Yeah. Yep.
No, and then the robot cares that the dishes are done, and the robot walks over there and takes the dishes and puts them away because the robot's just going to do everything for me. Cook my dinner. Great.
Okay. I think it'll happen in our lifetime that we will have a robot like cooking us dinner at a restaurant.
We may luck out when we're senior citizens. Like, we may not have to do a damn thing. We'll
I just want to sit on a beach. Can I have like a robot like bring me like some like fancy drink with like a straw and a coconut or something? Like, that's what I want.
Yeah, there's just like we'll maybe
like,
we'll be
Jeeves,
healthier.
I need another Mai Tai, and robot Jeeves shows up and like gives you like another Mai Tai. Like, yeah, robot Jeeves. I want a robot Jeeves actually. I think I'd be okay with that.
That and a flying car.
As long as they're bringing me drinks, like they can't be too evil. They're not gonna like take, like kill me and take over the world. It's a drink bot, like,
it's just gonna get you drunk, keep you drunk.
Yeah, keep you drunk, and then while you're all liquored up, it's gonna take over. That's its goal. Goddamn Jeeves.
You just had the real time occurrence, like it just occurred to you.
like Jeeves was like supposed to make my life easier and bringing me alcohol. Then one day I said something and he didn't like it, so he brought me drinks that were too strong. So I was drunk and I passed out, and then he took over. That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
Do not get a robot Jeeves. That's gonna happen.
We'll have it made, man. We won't have to drive. We'll have self-driving cars. We can be, 99 years old, halfway blind, stupid. You'll be drunk with your umbrella drinks that Jeeves brought you, and then your talking car is going to drive your drunk ass around so you can go play cards and get more drunk or whatever.
That doesn't sound like a bad life.
No, right? Like,
I'm kidding. I want to drive. Driving's fun. I like driving. AI cars are cool, but let me drive when I want to drive, damn it.
I want an AI car that also flies. That I don't have to drive.
Flying AI cars. That's
How could that go wrong?
Future. Yeah, that's a scary future. Flying AI cars. Okay. Speaking of flying AI cars, let's talk about boosts and wrap this show up here.
Yeah, we have some of our best supporters.
we have some boosters to thank. Our best supporters. Open Mike, thank you, sir, for your 11K sats. Odyssey Westra, thank you for your 7K sats. Mick, 5K sats. Bernie, 91, 3K sats. And Phil Bill, 2K sats. Thank you all for your boost. It's greatly appreciated. If you don't know what I'm talking about, well, that's because you're listening on legacy podcasting. You need to stop what you're doing right now. Go download Fountain or use any of the other podcasting 2.0 apps and participate in the zapping and boost economy. We out.